Damn, it feels like it's been a long time since we've done one of these, guys. It's been since March, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's been since March, and due to the whole COVID thing and the severity of that situation, we're cranking back up with a July, what is today, 23rd? Am I right?
Yep, you're right. Yeah, 23rd.
July 23rd. So it'll be a while before this one actually sees the light of day, but we should be getting these things up and running fairly quickly. And I'm so glad that we get to do this again, because I have really, really missed doing these, because I enjoy doing them so much. And it's such a fun departure from having to do our real job, and we get to talk with really rad and awesome people. So nobody better fitted to get us kicked back off again. And the only reason we haven't had this person on before is because when we started doing these the end of 2019, we were not on the road together, which we had been off and on for the majority of the last 2 or 3 years. So once again, I'm going to raise them up. I'm happy to be back. And we have and I don't even say this, like one of my best buddies in this business. We have the awesomely talented and very opinionated and awesome Sunny Sweeney with us today.
Yay! Yay! Hey, we're both wearing Ward Davis shirts.
Oh, no.
I just realized that.
This is the only thing I had clean, though.
Same.
Yeah, because it's brown. Brown. So, okay. What the hell have you been doing? We've been locked down. What have you been doing?
I mean, well, hi, everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't introduce everybody.
Oh. Go for it.
It's been a while since you've done this.
It's been a while. Because normally Josh is to my left, but to my upper right screen today, Bobby Keith is down to my lower right today. He's normally to my other side. And we have Seth Noteworthy anchoring it down on the engineering. So, sorry. I messed up. What to edit that.
Total slacker.
Yeah, total. I know, right? You think I'd be better by the 13th?
But really, I mean, let's be honest. I'm the important one here, okay?
Pajama bottoms too. You probably don't even have real pants on.
I don't have pants on, Cody. Thanks for asking. Thanks for bringing that to everyone's attention.
When the world shut down in March, were you on the road or were you at home?
No. So February 29th, we went out on the road basically in November, and we came home February 29th. Like, we didn't come home since November. And then February 29th, we got home. And we were supposed to go back out March 13th. And so we went to Vegas for 2 days, the first week of March. And it was already kind of starting to, people were starting to panic or whatever. And so we're like, well, this will be nothing. And then they're like, Mike called me, my manager, and he's like, so we're not going to be going on the road March 13th. And I was like, oh, cool. Like another week at home. He's like, yeah, or, a month or something. And I was like, I actually, honestly, was kind of looking forward to being home for like a month. But we never went back on the road. So I've just been sitting on my ass. Basically, this weekend will be 5 months. So.
Yeah, we're right there with you.
Yeah.
We were gone most of February. We ended our tour late February, March. We were home a week and a half, and literally flew to New York to start a tour and flew right home the next day. And here we are.
So crazy how this is all happening. But I mean, kind of is what it is. I'm telling you what, I am so caught up on my sleep. Like, and for me to say that, because I mean, like, I can sleep. Like, I sleep. I stay up really late, but I also know how to sleep. And I have probably slept, there's been at least a couple days a week where I've slept probably 12 hours a day. Not even kidding. Yep. Like, I don't even have wrinkles anymore. They're gone.
That's what I
mean, I also got Botox recently, but besides that, like,
Yes.
Botox and sleep. Like that really, I mean, sleep seriously is like major. It's major. You have to have sleep. So I've been really practicing that lately.
Practicing your sleeping.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, I sleep more on the road than I do at home.
Ooh, not me.
And I'm not, and I'm not, like on the road. I mean, these guys, no, they live with me, but it's nothing for me to sleep 13, 14 hours, and, when I'm home,
Really?
yeah, it's weird. I sleep so much when we're on the road. I don't know if it's just because like just the stress and everything makes me tired, putting on all this stuff. But so you don't sleep on the road is what you don't, or you not much.
No, I sleep maybe like 5 hours a night on the road.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And you stay on the road
months at a time. Yeah.
Anybody that stays on the road more than you. I can't name one. Maybe Morningstar.
I mean,
but besides Morningstar,
I honestly feel more comfortable on the road. Like, when I got home, it took me until May to unpack my bag. Like, I continued just living out of my suitcase because I kept going like, surely this is almost over. Like, holy shit. I mean, what's happening? But
yeah.
No, I mean, I'm more comfortable on the road. It's why I wear the same thing every day when I'm on the road, because I don't have to choose clothes. I don't have to pick out what I'm wearing. I don't have to like go through the whole girl thing and all that. I just like, I've only got 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants. So it's going to be one of these 2 things that I'm wearing tonight. So you have to choose. It's much easier to be on the road, for me. I mean, but I don't have kids. Like, I know that like the kid thing makes a huge difference. And like, if I had kids, I would probably want to be at home more, but like, we all love being on the road, I mean, truly like there's really no reason for me to be at home versus if I could be working.
Yeah.
So.
No. And as road dog, and you're one of the biggest road dogs that I know. But yeah. As somebody who has, frankly, we both spent the better part of the last 20 years
mm-hmm.
doing this. And, we were talking about before we got going, it's like, you've been so depressed lately, this and that, this and that. I remember when this first started, telling Rebecca, it's like, hey, I'm going to use this time. I'm going to work on my craft. I'm going to work on my songwriting. I'm going to work on this and work on this, work on, this and it. Spend all this time with my children who I've been gone their entire lives. And then the next day I'm like a blubbering mess.
I know.
And I'm do with myself. I'm having anxiety attack. I'm fucking depressed, So
I think a lot of people aren't wanting to talk about that, but like the more that I've brought that up to like, because I know people from beginners in this business all the way to like major superstars, and like I've talked to all of them over the last couple of months about it, and everyone is feeling that way. It's not just us. It's not just you. It's not just Josh. It's not just Keith. It's not like the sound guys or the lighting guy. It's literally everyone that's committed their life to being in the music business, and then like it's just taken away. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would think it's normal to feel like that, and like, it's okay. I've cried more in the last 5 months than I've cried probably in my entire life put together, including going through 2 divorces. Like, I'm not even joking. So like, to me, it's like, this is like our life. Like, this is all we know. This is all we know. So then when it's taken away from you, you're just kind of like, well, okay, well, I guess I'll stay at home now. And then it'll happen again. I mean, music isn't going away. It's just a matter of when it's coming back.
The best way to describe it, I was trying to describe it to my wife and to other people I've talked with, musicians and people that, do what we do for a living, staying gone on the road. And, but I said, the best way I can describe the feeling is that you take a stage away from an entertainer and you become Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do. It's it's such a part of you.
Yeah.
And like I said, my kids are 8 and almost 11 now, and this is by far the longest longest stint at home that I've ever had. So they've learned a lot more about Dad.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
and
I bet.
Good either, you know. It's, so, all right. Let's talk. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Sunny, you brought up wanting to be on the road, and I think this is a good segue as to, I feel like, is that because that's something that you just had to do to survive, kind of knowing a little bit of what's happened to your career in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I was going to say a minute ago when Cody was talking, like, I'm kind of a nerd with, well, a lot of things, but I'm kind of a nerd with, I have every gig written down that I've ever done. Like every gig from the beginning of time. And which was like in the prehistoric dinosaur ages. But the longest I have ever been home ever since 2001 was 31 days.
Wow.
That's the longest I've ever been home without having a show or, something. So I think, yes, I think in the beginning, like, it was out of necessity because that's how I had to, when I committed to the music business, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I've got to do this and I've got to do it in heels. It's not as easy for a girl to do it as it is for a guy. Like, I know guys always think that. They're always like, oh, bullshit, you're so pretty. Like, doors open for you. I'm like, oh, no, you don't understand. Like, I could tell you stories that would make your head spin. Like, it was a uphill battle for literally 5 to 7 years. Every day, like, spent just bawling my eyes out. Because guys, there were literally booking agents and, like, promoters that would say, what are we going to do with you at our bar? I was like, the same thing you're going to do with, Joe Smith. I mean, I'm going to also sing songs, like just like they will. It just happened to be a girl, So I had to fight that battle. And then once it started working, it shocked me. And I was like, oh my God, like people are coming to my shows that aren't my mom. Like people are showing up that aren't my sister or aren't my mom or aren't my friend, like just like random people showing up. And so then it became kind of like almost like a drug. I don't do drugs. I know, a lot of people do, but I don't. But like it became like a drug sort of where I'd be like, oh, if I go do the same show, because I live in Austin and I started playing in Austin, but I'd be like, if I go and do this show and then like some random person shows up again, that I don't know, and then they come back for second, kind of like, oh, well, I did something right. They showed up again, and then it became almost like a game to me. And I would be like, oh God, I hope they come back again next week and I hope they bring a friend. So then I started saying that and it worked. And then people would come back and they'd bring their friends. And then I remember my first out of town gig was in San Angelo at Blaine's. Did you ever play there?
Oh gosh, yeah. Lots of time.
Okay. So Blaine hated me. He was so mean to me. Bless his heart, rest in peace. But he was so mean to me when I wanted to play there. And initially, the first out-of-town gig I ever had, I had beat his door down so much that I think he was just kind of like, shut up and come play my bar. Oh, my God. Like, I can't take you anymore. So he offered me a weekend, a Friday and a Saturday. And he was like, if you come and you start at 8 and you play till 2, thinking that I would say I can't do it. And I was like, all right. And so I go to sound check. And he stood in front of me with his arms crossed and called out songs for me to sing. And at this point, I was mostly doing cover songs anyway. So he stood in front of me and kept calling out songs. And he kept calling out, any Loretta Lynn? Any Tanya Tucker? Do you know any Kathy Mattea? I was like, yeah, I know all that. I was like, but I also know, Waylon Jennings and I know, all of your favorites. He loved Jack Ingram. I was like, I know Jack Ingram songs, whatever. I literally did a show for this man at Soundcheck. And at the end of it, he goes, well, you ain't too bad for a girl. He's like, here's your one hotel room. He gave me a hotel room at the Howard Johnson. And I thought I had fucking made it. Like, I was like, So we go and check into this hotel, and there's like cigarette burns in the bed, and I was like, yes! And we're all sharing one room. I was like, this is so awesome. And so,
I remember
I loved it.
Blaze was a big deal. Blaze was a big deal for up and comers years ago. I don't know if it still is, but I remember when we were trying to get into Blaine's, Josh, all those years ago, and the first place we ever stayed, I remember it too because it was very much like the cigarette burn Pojo you stated. It was called the Inn of the Concho.
Oh yeah, that's still where they put you there. Still, I think
they still into the Inn of the Concho.
It has the water fountain out front.
Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped in that one night.
No. Yeah.
So I have photos of it. Yeah.
So, going back to, playing for survival, Josh kind of brought up, which is what we did for years and years. We had to, be gone 9 or 10 months anyway. And, you said 31 days was the longest you ever spent at home. 6 weeks is the longest that we had spent at home. So, a little longer than that. But yeah, this has definitely been weird. But I wanted to touch on this too, because you were talking about whenever your people started coming, and it wasn't just your mother anymore, and it was saying, "Hey, bring a friend, tell people about it," that type of thing. When would you say that that happened? Were you at the time? You did with Republic Nashville, right? Was that about that time? Was that before? Was that
no? So I started playing at the Poodle Dog, the Chaparral Lounge, and then the Poodle Dog Lounge. And then that was like 2001, 2002, 2003. And then I played there used to be a lot of venues in Austin. And so I would just play anywhere they would let me play. Central Market, HEB, Mexican restaurant, anywhere that had a stage, I was playing there. And brought my own PA, set it up. No one in my band would help me. They'd be like, nope, this is your gig. You're paying me $50. Nope, do your own shit. I was like, okay. So I learned how to do all that in hindsight. I know how to do that stuff. And so, and then in 2006 or 5 or 6, I get this Facebook MySpace message from this guy that said he owned a record label in Nashville. And he had heard my music somehow, and he's like, "Do you ever play in Nashville?" And I was like, "Actually, I'm playing at this thing called the Billy Block Show in a couple weeks if you want to come." And I just kind of blew him off. I didn't know. I mean, I'd never heard of him. I was in my own little bubble, And then I went and did this show, and then he said, "I want to give you a record deal." And I was like, "A record deal? What?" And I don't know. Okay, I guess. And so I had one record out already that I had made. And so he basically took that record and put it on Big Machine and basically licensed it. And then I was in what I like to call the Artist Protection Program for about 6 years and didn't make a record for 6 years. And then I put out Concrete with them. They moved me over to their sister label, which is called Republic.
No, you were speaking of Heartbreakers Hall, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the record I made by myself. And then after the APP Artist Protection Program for 6 years, I made a record. And then that was the record that we made for radio that it was called Concrete. It had Staying's Worse Than Leaving and From a Table Away on it. And so that did what I wanted it to do. And it gave me a ton of publicity that I would never have gotten otherwise. But it was also the really the roughest time of my life because your image becomes a lot more important than your music, I think. And that's made very clear that your image is really important. So I was hungry a lot during those years. And then...
Nice way to put that.
Yeah, I was really hungry for 6 years. And I just kind of tried to find a positive from it. And the positive is that they really... When I was at that label for that long, it really did help me. And it got me in front of a lot of people that I wouldn't have gotten in front of. And it made me be able to travel. I started being able to, you're from Northeast Texas. So am I. It's you never thought when you were a little boy that you would leave Omaha or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like that. Like, I never thought I would leave Longview. And so the fact that like I've ever even gotten to get on an airplane is so weird to me still, you know, and now I've traveled to like 20 countries all over the world just because of my job. So there's so many positives from that. And I think all of that pretty much stemmed from being able to be in front of that many people for so long. So I'm grateful for it. I really am. But I also feel like I'm flourishing more, being able to be indie again after I got dropped, which I thought was the biggest disappointment in my life. But now I look at it as a total, like, that's really the best thing that could have happened. You know?
I would agree. I would agree with you. Just you know, because obviously I've known you for a while, and I remember you coming and playing the White Elephant when I was bartending there, you know, 16, 17 years ago. But as far as what you've been able to do on an independent level since you were dropped, has been outstanding. You get to go and do whenever you want, wherever you want. Whatever.
And also finding the people that we work with at True Grit. Like, I feel like you and I have talked about this before, but you're like, it's funny that it takes us till, you know, we're 40 to find our people. But like finding like my group, like my friends that do the same thing I do, that bust their ass, that do the same thing that we do. Finding that makes you have like a confidence that I've never had before, because I don't feel like I have to fit in. Like, I feel like we all kind of mesh. And then finding the people that work at True Grit also have been the best choice for me. And I fight with Mike, like, duke it out, but he's like my brother. He's like one of my best friends. And I know that he's got my best interest at heart. So when we argue about stuff, it's usually because I feel like I just want to put my point out there. But then the end of the day, like, we are on the same boat going in the same direction, instead of having a management over here and a booking over here and have to get them to all enter the same boat, first of all. But now it's like everybody's on the same boat in the whole group of us. We're all on the same boat. All of us are pointed in the same direction. And it's just a matter of finding how to navigate through all of the stuff, because being indie is a lot harder, because you also have to figure out like the money aspect of it. You don't have record label money thrown at you. So you have to be able to find money to squeeze out of pretty much, you know, nothing. You know, like, you have to find money, find gigs, find this, find that. It's not presented to you necessarily all the time. And so that can be a good thing and a bad thing. But I think that at the end of the day, like, all of us want the exact same thing for our careers. So it really is the happiest I've ever been in my career in the last, like, I think I've been with Mike like 5 years maybe, or 5, I don't know. It's been a long time, but like, I love where I'm at right now. Like, I feel better about my career right now than I've pretty much ever felt about it.
I think it's really important that everybody knows that when we see Sunny on the bill with us in 2 months, I can guarantee you we don't think, oh, Sunny as a woman. We think of Sunny as the artist, because she's
awesome.
Badass.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's great about you now is, if people are being honest with themselves, or at least I hope they're not looking at you because she's great because she is a woman. No, she's great because she's awesome.
Well, so when Paul Cawthon did this thing in September, he did this like birthday, I think it was a birthday show or something. But he just texted me and was like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Of course, I want to do." It'd be like if y'all texted me, I'd be like, "Yes, I want to do whatever you want me to be a part of." Yes. So I didn't even ask questions. I just said, "Yeah, when do I show up?" He told me. I showed up. I get there. There were, I think, 13 people on the bill, and there were like 7 women. 7, like half. And to me, it was so minor for anyone else looking at it, but like, the women in this business, and y'all know me, like, I don't pull the girl card at all. Like, I'll do the same thing the guys do, but like, to have that validation and to have all these women on this bill, none of whom I knew really. I'd heard their names, but I'd never like seen them. I'm obsessed with this one girl now that's on there, Leah Blevins. I like heard her voice and it stopped me in my tracks. I was like, this is amazing. Like this is so empowering and cool. And for little girls, especially, to be able to go to a show and see more than just the token woman on stage, like that is badass to me. Like, you know, because I needed that when I was little. I needed to see, like, you know, I love Waylon Jennings. Y'all know that. I never got to see him live. But if I would have walked in and seen him live, I would have been like, damn, who's this? Like, he's so good. But like to see, like, I mean, y'all all have girls, you know? So like, if you think about it from like your daughter's perspective and you go, I want my little girl to feel like when she gets older, if she wants to be a singer, bless her heart, you know, if she wants to be in this business, like give her something to look up to, you know, like some chick that's like, you know, hanging, you know, and, you know, going through all the same toils and troubles. And, you know, I love it. I just love when there's women that are represented without pulling the girl card, because I'm not, but I'm just saying I love when I see that, you know, because there's a lot of women that are badass right now.
There's a lot of women that aren't just badass women that are just the best out there. And I think you're seeing a complete. I don't know. I mean, over the last 10 years, and I could sit here and just name artist after artist, and okay, just for personal, this is my personal favorite group of women right now. Obviously, you and Nikki Lane are the two female artists that we tour with the most, and you're one of the artists that we probably toured with the most, like top three, period. I just saw Courtney Patton the other day. She was on a project of mine. Jamie Lynn, Aaron Enderlin. I could just sit here and just make badass after badass after badass.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And so having a daughter that's 11 years old and loves music, sings all the time, is learning piano, knowing that the women she's hearing on the radio are dad's friends and they tour together, and that's really cool for her.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, I don't have kids, but I mean, like, if I had a daughter, I would want, or a son, but especially a daughter, I would want her to think that she could go and do whatever, you know, without being like too far that, you know, whatever.
Without
but like,
having to be hungry.
Yeah. I mean, I was hungry, y'all. Like I was hungry.
Oh, I know, man. There's some skinny pictures of you.
I was drunk and hungry. Those were the two qualities of my life during that period.
Well, you fixed one of those.
Oh, man.
Cheers, Josh.
Yeah, there you go. I had to gig you. At least once. At least one drunk joke.
I love it.
I got to tell you, I was
making me drink at 1:45 in the afternoon. So
well, I was so excited about you today because I felt like, well, this doesn't feel like I don't have to research anybody. Like I'm just going to get to hang out, and this was a good one. And I mean, I know that Sunny likes me, but I guarantee you, she only really likes me because she loves my wife.
I do love your wife. I love all of y'all's wives, actually, like a whole lot. I have a funny story to remind you of, Josh. So me and Josh, well, all of us after a gig, I can't remember where we were, but we took like an Uber to go to some bar last year, and Josh and I go outside to have a cigarette, and Josh, okay, I don't know if anyone else even knows this. Do you know what I'm going to say? You were real drunk. I don't know if you will.
I'm still on the edge of my seat.
There was these gas fire pits outside with rocks in them, like a fire. Like, you know, fire is hot. And so Josh goes, "Can I borrow a lighter?" And I said, "Yeah." So I give him a lighter. He lights a cigarette, and he has a cigarette, and then he leans over and picks up a rock out of the fire and is holding it and he's drunk and he doesn't realize that it's burning his hand. And he goes like this. He goes, "Oh, so hot. So hot." And then he throws it, and then he looks at his hand, and there's like a burn mark on his hand right here. And then we just stood there, and I was like, "Did you not know that was hot?" And he said, "Well, I mean, yeah." And I was like, "It's fire, Josh. Like, it's hot. Like, it's going to burn you." And he just was like, "Okay." And so we just stood out there, but the whole rest of the night I could see him just sitting there going, like,
Okay, so I do remember this now.
I think
And
I'm having a burn hand. I just didn't know how you did it.
because he's an idiot.
well, I remembered as I picked one up that was on the very outside. And it was like, see, they're not hot. And I grabbed one just a little bit closer because the first time wasn't enough.
Well, since
But the
Telling
rest of
road-
it is true. The rest of it is absolutely true.
we're telling road stories, one of my favorite road stories ever was a gag that was going around, and I believe that it was y'all's camp, our camp, and Ward Davis's camp, and it involved a device that stuck to a wall. It's hot pink. You remember this?
I don't think she was on that.
You sure?
I think you're swapping bands.
I don't know, but I mean, you're definitely going to have to tell me now what you're talking about because I don't think I remember.
The big pink dildo.
No.
Oh. Hey, all right, Beth, we're gonna edit that.
No, we're not.
Who? I thought I could have sworn it was Sunny.
I think it was just us and Ward.
I think so.
That thing kept going between trailers and windows and everything.
It just ended up.
Y'all are idiots.
Sonny, somebody got on top of the van and stuck it like on the very top and rode about 150 miles.
Looked like a unicorn. Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
What about the time when y'all came to meet me at the hotel in Nashville when I was staying there?
Oh, God.
And so my dog is very small. That's him right there. Dougie. See, he just moved. That's him. He's very small. But he rides in a purse, and so he was sitting there, and he's really good in public, and he's sitting beside me in the booth, and he was asleep in his bag, and they came and sat down, and like Doug stayed asleep or whatever, and like we had been sitting there for like an hour probably, and then Doug pops his head up, and Cody's like, "You have a dog in your purse?" Like whatever. And so anyway, so then like later, I went outside and I asked Keith to babysit my dog for a minute while I went outside. And when I came back, Keith and my dog were gone. And I was like, "Where is my dog?" And I was like panicking. And Keith walked out of the man's bathroom with a purse on his shoulder with my dog in it. He had taken the dog into the bathroom to pee. And he's like in there in the man's bathroom peeing with the dog on a purse or in a purse.
I hung him on that stall thing that you got.
I do that all the time with him, all the time.
No, I just remember because it was. I don't even know why we were all in Nashville. We just happened to be in Nashville, and you said, "Hey, y'all come over to the hotel bar. Let's have a drink." So me and Hot Rod and Bobby Keith head over, and we're just sitting there. We were there longer than an hour, Sonny. It was like 2 hours. We had a few, and it just dawned on me there was a fucking dog in your purse, and it didn't seem to mind. I was like, "Is the dog okay?" And you're like, "Yeah." You need to lift the little thing up, and Doug goes,
He's like chill. I mean, like he's chill. Like for real, he is the perfect animal for me. I love him, obviously, but he has separation anxiety, so that's why I take him, or I have separation anxiety from him, I think. But so we just go everywhere. together. So why not? He goes to restaurants with me. He went to, there's this really nice steak restaurant in Austin called Three Forks. And I went in there one night. I decided to take an Uber because I knew I would be drinking. So I took an Uber, me and Doug took an Uber to eat. And we walk in and we're sitting there at the bar. And I said, I'm ready for my table. So went and got a table. And then the waiter comes over and he asked if he could, take my order. And I ordered and everything. And I eat. I eat. And so he asked if anybody would be joining me, I guess, because of how much I ordered. And I said, no, nobody's joining me. And so he leaves and he doesn't know Doug's there either. Doug's sitting over on the side of me. So at the end of the meal, I said, can I have a little side plate with an extra knife and fork so I can give it to my dog? And he brings me a doggy bag, like a little container. And I said, no, I'm going to feed it to him right now. And he was like, okay. I think he thought I was kind of nuts or whatever. And so I go, Doug, and he pops up and he's like, you have a dog and Three Forks? And I was like, did you know he was here? Is it hurting anything at all? And he's like, well, no, ma'am. So he goes and gets me a fork and a knife and a plate for Doug. And I feed Doug the rest of my steak or whatever. Doug hangs. He hangs. He's a good partner.
He's great. If I would have had they would have called the cops on me.
Your dog's head is as big as Doug's body.
Yeah.
No, while we're telling road stories, I'll go ahead and tell one whenever you left your trailer with us in Key West and you came back and got it.
And the fight happened? Was that?
Oh, man, yeah, you hit that guy's bike or something.
I ran into, in Key West, they have really skinny streets. And so they're usually one way. And I had to get all the guys to come out because the way that you have to angle the trailer in, they had to basically lift it and push it into the spot or whatever. But then we didn't think about how we were going to be getting it out. So when we did that, I basically pushed with the front of the van a bike up next to a wall because it was pinned to one of those bike racks or whatever. And one of the neighbors, I think, saw it happening or something, and he came down in the middle of the street and got in a throwdown with a couple of y'all's guys, and I felt so bad. But also, I was kind of ooh, we're gonna see a bar fight out here in the middle of the street. But I think we ended up. I'm pretty sure that I paid him $80 for the bike. That's what he wanted for it.
It was worth $30.
I completely obliterated this guy's bike. I felt terrible. Oh well. I'm sorry. I paid him for it.
I don't remember that at all.
You were with your wife at a different hotel down the street.
That was in town. Now I do remember that same trip. Sunny making Sal show off his new tattoo at the dinner table.
Oh.
Y'all remember that?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
So for the listening audience that doesn't know, our one of our engineers and our stage manager, Sal, he has a scorpion tattoo
in his area.
In his area. And we went out to this really nice, had to pull some strings to get this restaurant, man. And it's our band and crew, your band and crew, Ward's band and crew.
bunch of hoodlums in this nice restaurant, and then he pulls his pants down right at the table.
Yeah, they put us outside. So we're sitting there, it's talking about this new tattoo he got. So he's like, got this. He's into the wine, She's like, do it. Come on, Sal. Sal finally stands up. There we go. There it is. Right there.
Was that the same night we went to that other bar where the one naked guy was?
Yes.
The only one.
We heard through the grapevine that there was this nudie bar that everybody was just naked in there, and so we were like, well, we want to go, but we're not getting naked.
Clothing optional.
Yeah, it was optional, but like we definitely were not taking our clothes off. There was like a group of 30 of us going to this bar. And so we walk in and there is a dude. How old was he? Like 60, 65.
Yeah.
Butt ass naked. I mean, like, and then when we all kind of like start laughing, you can see him kind of like, okay, time to pull my trousers up. And like, you're just standing there like, dun, dun, dun. Oh my God. What is wrong with people?
He's all propped up on the bar. You know?
Yeah. He had his arms up. I remember he was standing, I can't go too high because I can't show y'all below this, but he was like, dun, 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 like he had his arms out like this, kind of like framing himself. I was going,
Yeah.
That's all.
I like your skullet.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's it's a lifestyle. You have to embrace it.
Is it?
I'll tell you this, Sonny. This is the first time that I've seen it, and I looked over at the computer when we were getting set up, and I was all muted, and I just said, "Oh my God," and I walked away.
Well, so from the front, like you look like, you have a shaved head.
Yeah, it just looks like a shaved head.
Yeah, like a shaved head from the front. Total good angle. But then you do that and you kind of look like, yeah, I mean, that's where the party's at back there. Definitely party back there.
Yeah. I've been talking about doing it for some months now, and I've been shaving my head on the side for the last year and a half anyway, left it long on top, but I mean, shit, dude, it's getting so thin and we're not on the road anyway. And if I were to put my cowboy hat on that I perform in, you wouldn't be able to tell any difference because it would look the same pretty much. But
I considered shaving mine, Cody. Like, I mean, I told y'all the other day, like my hair is so long and so hot. And like, I always wear hats because I hate fixing my hair. So I don't even know why I have hair, but I get it. Like I would shave the shit out of my hair, like right now, if I could not even think twice about it. No, because I don't know what my head looks like. What if I have lumps in my head or something?
No, you ask Cameron because he's measured it. Like he knows, like the conformer. He'll know if there's like a dent in there or whatever.
Good
what
call.
A genius! You're a genius, Bobby Q.
Yeah. Just call Cameron up and be like, "Hey, Cameron. Hey, look, I'm thinking of shaving my head. Yeah or nay?"
Do I have dents in my head, Cameron? Do I have any irregularities that you know of?
All right. I have one question down here that I wanted to get to just because it was highlighted because I didn't actually remember this happening or know this, but in 2013 you were nominated for ACM Top New Female Artist.
Okay, so do you want to hear a story?
I would love to.
Yay!
Okay.
Story time.
So in 2012 is when I got dropped from Big Machine, and I thought my life was over, as I explained earlier. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to call my mom. I had like from July until like November, it was the worst time of my life that I've ever had, especially in this business. I was just so depressed, felt like the biggest loser. Like, because I mean, now looking back, like it truly was all a blessing. But so my birthday's in December. And so I called my mom at the end of November and we talked about it. And I said, I just feel like I want to quit the business. Like, I just want to find something else to do. Like, I just can't do this anymore. Too brutal, too hard, breaks my heart. Business kills me. Like, people are fake. I need to find either a group of people that I love, that I want to be around, or I need to quit. Like, that's kind of where I was at. So on December the 1st, my mom called me of 2012 and she said, my mom's pretty religious. And she's like, you need to go into your room and get down on your knees and pray for a sign that's like undeniable to tell you what to do, because I can tell that you're really struggling with this. And you need to literally pray to God for a sign. Because she goes, I don't think you need to quit, but I also am not here to tell you that you have to stay doing this. because if you're not happy, then I know you're not going to want to do it. So long story short, she goes, pray for a sign, give yourself a date. Like say, I need this sign in 14 days or whatever. So be very specific is what she was saying. So I was just so upset. I was like, okay, that's a really good idea, Mom, whatever. So I did it. And I literally begged and pleaded and cried and prayed and all of the things and was like, if I don't have an answer in 21 days, then I'm quitting. Like if it's not an undeniable answer, I'm quitting. Okay. So I told my mom that. She's like, okay. She's like, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. So my birthday comes and goes. That was the first week of December. Second week of December comes and goes. My mom every day calls me in the morning and at night. Heard anything? Found anything? Seen anything? Know anything? Like every day. On day 20, the music business shut completely down from like the end of November to like January 15th. Nobody's in their office. Nobody takes phone calls. Nobody returns emails. Nothing. So one day before my 21-day limit that I'd given myself, I get a phone call from Bob Romeo, who is the head of the ACM. And he says, hey, I'm Bob, and I have to tell you this because you have to keep it under wraps, but you have to be able to be aware of it because you have to make basically like a campaign video and it needs to be done by January 15th. But you've been nominated for an ACM award. And I was like, do what now? Like, so clearly no record label, haven't had a song on the radio in 2 years. Like there is no reason that I should have had an ACM nomination. Zero reason. Except for that I still to this day, 8 years later, still carry that example with me. Like every single time I say I'm going to quit, every single time I say it's too hard, every single time I say I hate it, anything, anytime anything bad happens. And I always say, I just need to get a real job. I need to get a real job. I carry that with me December 20th, 2012, because I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. So that ACM nomination came out of literally thin air. And then, I asked around and nobody had nominated me for it. Still truly have no idea how it happened. Zero idea how it happened or why it happened, for the exception of literally God being like, this is what you're supposed to do.
That's incredible.
I mean, truly, I still carry that with me every single time I have a problem. Like, so if I'm tired and doing like when we actually, one of the times was going on the tour with y'all, we left San Antonio. Remember last year, I think it was like in upstate New York, there was like a couple of, we drove from San Antonio. We played at Florida on like a Thursday, and then we had to play with you on Saturday.
Yeah.
And during that drive, a lot of the time in the van, like all of us like just sleep, but I was driving for a long time that trip. And overnight from San Antonio, I think we made it to like Dallas before we took a nap. And on that drive, everybody else was asleep except me. And I was literally sobbing in the front seat going like, I can't do this. Like, what am I doing? Like we're driving literally 24 solid hours with no sleep, like no hotel, no nothing, just to go and do this. And then I thought, okay. And I went back to December 20th, 2012. And I was like, nope, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're going to be safe. You're going to be fine. Cause I was worried about getting in a wreck more than anything. Like I was like, we're going to be exhausted, but then we got there and it of course packed and it was so fun. And your fans have always been so great to us. I mean, like, so it like literally was like I had slept 20 hours by the time we got on stage because it's so rejuvenating doing what we do. Mm-hmm. And it all made it like, okay. So, but every time I struggle with anything like that, I go back to December 20th, 2012 and go, nope, that's what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do.
I'd be curious. I'd be curious to know, and maybe we can get Hot Rod, our fact checking department, on this. How many people have been nominated for an ACM while not having a record label?
0.
Sunny already knows.
That's it. You're the only one.
As far as I know.
I had no idea. I didn't.
I got dropped in 2012, and that happened. I got dropped in July, like 13th of 2012, and then that award ceremony was in April of 2013.
Wow, that's remarkable. I didn't know that.
I mean, that's the only I know that it sounds like to people that don't. I mean, I know y'all believe the same way that I believe in that department, but like. I remember you saying this one time. You were like, growing up in a church is half what's wrong with me and half what's right with me. Like,
and I Harold Dodd, but yes, I say that often.
Right. But I mean, I heard you say that on stage, like, and I thought that's my problem too. You know, like, of course, I mean, my grandfather was a Baptist preacher. Like, I know how it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, but also I firmly believe that, like, you know, this is what I'm supposed to do because of that one specific example.
And it, you know, often in our line of work, and a lot of it has to do with because, you know, at the risk of sounding like big babies, you know, what we do is extremely difficult. It's very taxing.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous at night to be driving the way that we drive, you know?
It is what it is. But, you know, I joke around with I don't joke around. I'm dead fucking serious. Every time I leave for a tour, I'm like, Rebecca, this is the last one. I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm done. And then when I come home from that tour, I'm like, man, that was a great tour, but I think I'm done. I think I'm just going to be done. And then I leave for another tour and I'm like, Beck, I think this is the last one.
I know. It's one of those things though, where I feel like it's all that we know.
Yeah.
It's all that I've ever known as an adult. Like, this is the only job that I've ever not been fired from, first of all. I had 14 W-2s 1 year from restaurants. Like, I am a terrible employee. I mean, terrible employee. So it works out way better for me to be the boss, as it does you, I'm sure. You can decide when you want to work. I can decide when I want to work, which is all the time. I mean, we like working. I mean, that's the thing. And like, you get off from your fans, like, loving what you do. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. And I feel like that's what I was explaining just a second ago. Like, I was so exhausted and so tired and so scared, and like all of the driving late night and 24 hours of not bathing. And like, I'm very clean and I don't want to not take a bath for 24 hours. But when I got to your gig, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And like, I love, you know, y'all are my favorite band to tour with. I truly mean that. You know that. Cause I mean, you know that, but I love it. I love it. I mean, like, I love your fans, and the fact that you put your stamp on something by having people at your shows, open shows for you, your fans automatically go toward, they automatically accept that, you know? I'm sure you've heard that before. Like, you know that.
Well, sure. You know, and it's nice to have the reputation on our end because, you know, you went through things with your labels and things where you had to learn how to really be self-sufficient and to do things on your own. You know, I got wrapped up into a not so great management deal for a number of years, and Josh and I had to learn how to do everything on our own in terms of, you know, from, you know, the booking to the promotion to the whatever. We all had to learn things. Having said that, that grassroots effort has paid off dividends for us because now, you know, if there's a band that's out with us, and chances are, you know, it's going to be somebody, we don't tour with people that aren't our friends.
Right.
You look at who we've toured with the past 5-6 years.
Right.
It's all buddies. Like it.
Well, that's how, in my opinion, that's how it should be, because that's the only time you get to see your friends. I mean, really.
Yeah. So, you know, we're not, yeah, it is. You have a song about that, Poet's Prayer, and I love that song. But, you know, that's kind of how we set ourselves up. We set ourselves in place to be able to do what we want to do and play with who we want to play with. I don't want to get put on a bill. I'm not, whoever.
I know. I mean, I did that for 6 years. I mean, solid. Like I played with people I didn't know every single night. You know.
Yeah, and don't care to know you either. You know.
Exactly, and that's more of it because I felt like, you know, they were already had like what it reminded me of was like middle school, where like you're a new kid at middle school, and like you go in and they've been going to school together since they were in kindergarten, and then you come in and you're, you know, relatively cool, relatively decent person, but like they want nothing to do with you because you're not in their clique or whatever, and that's what it reminded me of. But like,
yeah.
That's why I enjoy touring with my friends, is because, you know, I enjoy being around people that I feel comfortable around, you know, on and off stage. But I mean, off stage, because the 23 hours you're not playing per day is way more important than the 1 hour you are playing. That's the way I look at it.
Well, and yeah, the way I see it, you know, by, you know, having our friends come out and the people that we want to play come out with us, I'm going to have to like that other band because, you know, I get tired of hanging out with my own band. So, you know, it helps if I can go hop in somebody else's band or jump up on somebody else's bus. Like, you know, what are you fuckers doing, man?
Right.
I mean, you know, so you know that's been a big part of what we do and how you know we have, you know, you were saying, you know, talking about how I'd mentioned that it was kind of like until you're 40 years old, finding the people that you really, you know, kind of find your group, and we, you know, kind of have our own little, you know, club. And it's not that we keep people out of our club, and it's not a clique. It's just a group of buddies that at this age have been doing this for 20 years and have found each other and write together and sing together and go out on the road together. And you know, it's that's why I do it. You know, that's why at the end, you know, you say you get off on your fans. You know, if I were to stop doing it, I wouldn't have anything that scares the ever living shit out of me anymore, other than being like, I need to be scared to death when I walk out on stage. That's something I know about myself. I don't need to be. I hate it. I have awful stage fright, and people don't realize that.
Same.
But if I don't have that shot of adrenaline, that kick in the ass, to where like I come out of it like I'm like, whoa, you know, like
Loretta Lynn. I talked to her when I met her once, and I asked her, you know, do you have any advice or whatever? And she said, if you ever don't get butterflies before you walk on stage, you need to get a new job.
Yeah.
Like that's freaking Loretta Lynn. Like she's like, if you quit getting nervous, like you need to be nervous, that you need to like capitalize on your nervousness, you know, but like if you quit getting nervous, you need to, you know, do something else because you're not in it anymore. Like your heart's not in it if you're not nervous. Which I thought was pretty cool because I get nervous when we went out with Bob Seger last year, and not only is this not a country act, this is a rock legend, and they put legend, like whatever.
Dude.
Like I thought Mike was joking when he said you're going to go out with Bob Seger. I was like, okay, bye, click, like hung up on it. And then he called me back. He goes, no, I'm serious. Like you're going out with Bob Seger. And I was like, what? So I was a wreck. I mean, a complete wreck, because I'm thinking, okay, he is a rock legend and I am a country singer from Texas. Like what, how, why? Oh my God, what are you talking about? So the first night of that tour, and I don't remember where it was, but I remember walking on stage and I felt like I have anxiety really bad anyway, you know, like anxiety attacks and panic attacks. But I remember walking on stage and being like, oh my God. I mean, there are 15,000 people in this arena that are here to see a rock legend. And we start with one of my country songs because I was like, I guess we just do it. I mean, like, that's all we know how to do anyway. So just do it. And after the first song, there were people like, you know, clapping. And then I thought, oh, they clap. Okay, cool. Like, but I was panicking. I was literally panicking But then I got to tell Bob, I call him Bobby. I would never call him that to his face, but I got to have a couple minutes to talk to him, and I said, hey, my mom said, you're the reason that I have relationship problems. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, she made me listen to Against the Wind on repeat when I was little, and she swears that that's what caused my relationship problems as an adult. And he starts laughing his ass off. And then when he finished laughing, he was like, oh, are you serious? And I was like, oh, I'm dead serious. And then he started laughing all over again. But I finally got to tell Bobby Sig that like he was the reason I had relationship issues. Which I thought was great.
Okay, so I think this is a perfect segue because whenever you tell a story about your mom, that's about the hardest I ever laugh. What is it about your mom? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, like when you think of East Texas women, Sunny Sweeney is the first one that pops up. And the second one is my cousin, which you understand that, Cody. And they're basically a 1A and 1B.
Absolutely. Love ladies both.
Well,
but can you tell us your favorite, like whatever your favorite story about because I swear to God.
There's so many. Like my mom is so funny. Like both my parents are really, really funny. And I think, well, pretty much my whole family is really funny. And like our whole life, we've always like competed with each other to see who can be funnier. So that just like comes naturally to me to try to be like funny, I guess. And my mom is the main culprit in that. She is hysterical. I mean, like she says things sometimes where I have to hang up on her. Like I cannot deal with her sometimes because I can't compete with her humor sometimes is what I'm saying. So as far as her being funny, like, I mean, the instances are great, but if you want to know like what she looks like for y'all that don't know my mom, when I moved to Austin in 2000, 96, my mom and my stepdad bought a house down here, and they said that it was because they've always wanted to move to Austin, but I think it's because they wanted to keep an eye on me. Anyway, long story short, my mom and stepdad, they come down here for the first time after they bought this house and they're moved in and everything. My mom goes, do you want to go eat with me? And I was like, yeah, we'll go eat. So she comes and picks me up. This woman has on now pantyhose and sandals and socks. And this is like, 20 something years ago. And I go, she gets out of her car and walks up to my house and she goes, you ready to go? And I was like, Mother, you live in Austin now. And her hair is like that tall. I mean,
she teased it.
Oh, she still teases it. It's big. I mean, she's got big hair. East Texas hair. I made her take her pantyhose off. I said, either put on some different shoes where your toes don't stick out in pantyhose, or take your pantyhose off because you are not wearing shorts and pantyhose and sandals. You're not doing it. Like, I'm not going anywhere in public.
He was wearing shorts with pantyhose and socks and sandals before.
Well, the pantyhose I'm calling socks, but like she had like pantyhose on with the seam around the toe and a sandal with her toes with the seam sticking out of the end of the sandal. So I made her take her pantyhose off, and she still rags on me for that. She's like, I can't believe you had such a problem with it. I was like, oh my God, Mom, like, you want to talk about a way you're not going to ever fit in this town. I've lived here for like a month at that point. Like, I'm so sure.
What?
So, Sunny, I got if you don't mind, I got a question. What made you do the dysfunctional family Christmas tour? Like, what made you start that, and how did you go about picking people for that? I guess because everybody has different schedules, so it's tough to get everybody together.
Well, yeah, and initially it was because of the whole thing where, like, we never see anyone that we are friends with, and December sucks anyway for gigs, and so we just thought a good way to do that would be to do, like, an acoustic December where it would just be me and a guitar player, and then the guitar player would play with two of my friends, and we would just rotate the friends. And it ended up working out. And I think we've done that, like, I think 4 or 5 years now. I mean, it's almost crazy, but it is so fun. And I get to see all my buddies, like, besides y'all, because every time we're doing it, like, y'all are doing your still band shows and then, or whatever you're doing in December.
We got that yacht that we take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't. I mean, I think in December, I think we did like 24 shows or something.
Wow.
But it gets me out of having to Christmas shop. So I get to do everything online. You know, like shop. Yeah, Amazon. I'm the worst. I'm the worst present giver on the planet. Like,
look at that sumo table behind her.
That was a drunk purchase.
Was that one off the book in the airplane that you can buy stupid shit off of?
No, I ordered this one night after I had a couple of drinks, and my old delivery guy at my other place where I live, his name is Daniel.
We were talking about stupid shit we buy on Amazon and how we forget about buying it. It gets here and it's like Christmas.
Oh, Daniel, my old delivery guy, brought that. It was a huge box. And he was like, you have a huge box. And I was like, whoa, do you have a pocket knife? I was like, I have no idea what that is. And so he opened it for me and he was like, all he could see was the head. Like, can y'all see that? I mean, it's a giant sumo wrestler table. And it has like panties with the thong that go up the back and everything. But he like opened
panties. I don't think they're called panties.
Or whatever. I mean, it looks like a big thong going up his butt. But anyway, so Daniel opens the top of it and he pulls the peanuts out, and I literally wish I could have videoed his face. He was like, what is that? And I was like, no idea. And so we pull it out of the box and we are both crying, laughing. And I'm like, oh my God. I called my manager and I was like, I think I maybe bought this and there's a receipt in here for like $500. Like, I think I spent $500 on that table. But then I was going to send it back and I was like, nah, I love it. I think it's so cute.
It's incredible. It's a nice piece. It really ties the room together.
His name is Aurora. That's the first sumo wrestler that ever existed. So I named him Aurora.
Aurora.
Aurora. O-R-O-R-O.
Aurora.
Aurora, yeah.
O's in there.
And now he has a little Buddha, and he has my Japanese sword on there that I bought in Japan when I was there last year. So,
it's a nice little Zen area.
Total.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hello?
Hey, Sunny, did you ever have a career in comedy?
Like in another lifetime, yes.
Like, no, like seriously, like you attempted like a career at one point?
Yeah,
Because,
I mean, I wouldn't say a career because like it wasn't a career, but like I did do a lot of improv, and then I attempted stand up a couple of times, but it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like improv is way better because it's like you're on stage with other people, but you know, it's the equivalent of playing with a band versus playing solo acoustic in front of 15,000 people. You know, I feel like you would just get like lost in the shuffle. Like you have to be, and I'm relatively funny, but like you have to be like a different plane. Like you have to be like I have comedian friends that, it's a whole different thing. Like it's a different thing, but I enjoyed the improv comedy a lot. Like I really, truly enjoyed it. And I love other people like playing off of other people, you know?
Yeah. I love the people don't realize how close to being a stand-up we are, you know, and it's and I've had stand-up, you know, friends, and we're all equally fucked up and self-loathing, and that's what that's what makes good songs, and that's what makes great comedy is the fact that, you know,
totally
we can go after everybody else because we've already established that we're a piece of shit. So anything's fair game at that point. You know, you can write about anything. So,
I feel like you have to be self-deprecating to some extent, like with what we do, you know, like, and I don't want to necessarily tell my life story in songs, but like, that's the easiest thing for me to do because it actually happened. And I'm not proud of all the choices that I've made, but like, ultimately I'm not the only person that's made those choices. So there are people that can relate to those songs.
But
that's
sometimes
the way I look at it.
What I think is so funny, and knowing you as well as I do, and working with the same agency and everything, and you know, all that good stuff. You don't like to sing some of the best songs you've ever written just because, like, well, it hurts too bad to sing. You're like, that's the fucking point, Sonny.
Well, I know. What are you, my manager now?
I know, but I know I fought you on it. I know Art fought you on it. You know, gotta sing these songs. I'm like, I know she's gotta sing them. Those are great songs.
I know. Like, I remember there was a couple of times, well, still to this day, like one of my favorite songs that I've ever written was with Caitlin Smith, and it was a song called Unsaid. It was on my latest record. I've never sang it.
I can't imagine why. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I mean, it's about a friend that committed suicide, and like, I don't know what I was thinking putting it on a record, because like, I can't sing it. Like, I can't get through it, you know?
No.
Like, there's no way. And, you know, that happened 2006 like a long time ago. And and I still like get really emotional about it if I think about it. So, but yeah, I know. And now it's good to know. I'll let Mike know that you're now my manager.
No, I'm not. No. I would not want to manage you at all, because we wouldn't be as good of friends as we are right now.
We can duke it out.
I ain't fighting you. I will be your. I will appropriate myself as Sunny's song helper.
Okay.
Because remember, whenever this whole COVID thing first started, you were doing one of your first at home on my couch concerts that we've all. And I had asked you to play a specific song for Rebecca and I, and you did, and it's a song that you don't normally play, but it is probably my favorite song, and it's off the Trophy record, Grow Up With Me.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that song so much.
Well, and initially, so the reason that I didn't play that for a long time was because we wrote it about my ex-husband, and then literally filed for divorce like 1 month after we recorded it. So I was like, what is the point, like, of singing a song? I feel like such a bullshitter, like singing a song about something that like I don't even believe in. I don't believe in love, you know? And I just like, I remember we were in DC one night playing, and this loud fan, I mean, she was loud. She was standing in the very front, and between every song, she would scream, grow old with me. And I was like, you know, it happened like for 9 or 10 songs, every time there was a break. And finally I leaned down to her and I said, hey, I'm not singing that song tonight. Like, let it go. And so in my divorce, I was in the middle of my divorce at this point. So we go outside after the gig, and, you know, the guys are all smoking and stuff, and we're standing there, and this girl walked outside to me, and she like came up and like bowed up to me, and she's like, well, I came here to hear you sing that song. And I said, well, guess what? I got married to stay married, and that song's about my ex-husband. So I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of it. She literally starts crying. She's like, oh, I had no idea. I was like, you wouldn't. And I wouldn't expect you to know that, because I've kept it very quiet. But like, I'm not singing that song right now for that reason. And she was like, I'm so sorry. But then now, like, I've started doing it. And we did it we're putting out a live record in a couple of months, and it's on there. So we're gonna have a live version of it. Is my point.
It's a beautiful song. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. You're very sweet. You're very.
I love it. That's awesome. So do you have? What do you? Okay, you kind of answered what I was just about to ask. You know, what do you have coming up? You do have a live record that you're working on right now.
Yeah, we just did it. We did the live record in May from our live stream. We got it mixed and mastered, and it's already done. Like, we've already done all the stuff. And then actually in 2 weeks, we're going into the studio with Paul Cawthon. He's going to produce our record. And we're going to go in Dallas to the studio there. And yeah, I'm really excited. And there's going to be some cool songs on there that some are old and some are really old, and then some are really new. And I'm also still looking for a couple. So if
I still need to send you that song idea I had the other day.
yes.
I'll try to do that later this evening. I've been digging through old songs and stuff like that, so that one might work for you. I'll send it to you.
I was going to say, so this thing you did in May. So I just saw Poet's Prayer get released, like a video. Is this kind of the same?
No,
type of project?
this is full band.
Okay, well that was awesome, by the way.
Thanks. The Poet's Prayer.
You sounded and looked amazing, and
Aw,
like everybody
thanks.
did. Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
great.
No, we actually recorded that a while back in Nashville. And then when all this stuff happened with like the Rona, we decided to put that out.
Oh, that's perfect timing.
Yeah, it was really good timing. And then I was like, oh, this is great. It's something that brand new. Okay, we'll release it. And then the live stream that we did, actually, my best friend, Joanna, the little blonde that sings with me, she came down from Nashville. And then we had Jeff Queen on steel. So we had like the big band. We had like fiddle, steel, and then guitar, bass, drums, and Joanna and I for the live stream that we did in May. And then we had Tommy Dedamore, who produced my first album, Heartbreakers Hall of Fame. He mixed and mastered it for us. So basically we produced it and then he mixed and mastered it. And then it's coming out. I don't know the exact date, but it's in a couple months. Yeah. So we're going to have that come out this year, and then we'll have the studio record come out next year. So when we do get to go back on the road, we'll have a ton of new shit to sing,
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's the aim. That's kind of what we're trying to do right now as well. We're going to go back into the studio, hopefully at the end of August, and just start laying some stuff down. If we can't go play, at least keep that creative part going.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought process was too, because I was like, why not use this time for exactly what we should be using this time for? If it's the only thing creative that we're getting to do right now is this, you know, like in whatever way that looks for whoever. You just have to figure out what way, and then I'm also starting a book that I've talked to you about, and that's officially in the works now, like 100%. We've already got like some of it done, and some really there's a couple of like gigantic names that have already said they would do it. Like, I can't believe it.
I said yes. So
yeah, you.
Everybody knows.
There is some really am so excited about that.
I have a feeling I know who they are. We'll talk about it later. We won't spill the beans. I have an idea.
Yeah, there's a couple that are like blowing my mind, like literally. Yeah. So.
But it's a great concept, and I won't divulge any more than you want to. But you do have a book that you're working on.
It's just geared to. I'll say this: it's going to be geared towards awkward children and young adults. Usually teenagers, we're all just super awkward in that. I'm still awkward, but
children.
That's what I told Mike earlier. I was like, dude, my awkward phase went from 6 until 35.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Me too.
I love you brought the concept of that book months ago, and I won't give any secrets away, but I loved the concept of it.
Thank you.
And it is people that do what we do for a living. A lot of us were late bloomers, ugly ducklings. I know. I've seen some pictures. We've passed around a couple. But the one of you in the glasses is my favorite thing I've ever seen, probably in my life. Yeah, well, you keep banging out that country.
That's going to be the cover, I think. Actually. I don't know.
As it should be. As it should be.
My mom literally said, I can't believe I let you out of the house like that. She's like, you really, truly, that was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. My bangs went out of the frame in my school picture.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's the greatest koozie I've ever owned.
It's in my kitchen. It's one. But Hey, I'll wrap this up.
I was gonna bring up a story she told me a long time ago that I don't know if you know, but her and Randy Rogers, they're good friends. They went to college.
Yeah, Tech, right?
And,
No, we went to Southwest.
Oh, Southwest.
Who was on crutches, you or him?
Oh my God, no. I got in a car wreck. I know what you're going to say about when I had the handicap sticker.
Yeah, and he made you take him to school, right?
Okay, I got in a car wreck. I got rear-ended at a stoplight, and the car was going like 45 miles an hour and slammed into the back of me without stopping. And it cracked a bone or something in my shoulder and in my neck. And I had a handicap, like sticker, because I could barely drive, but like I could fake driving as long as I didn't have to carry my backpack too far because, college, your backpack is like really heavy. So Randy gets wind of this, and we had 8:00 classes every morning. And he texted or called me or something one night, and he was like, "Hey man, can you stop by and get me in the morning?" I was like, no, I cannot. I'm driving from Austin. No, I cannot. So I made a deal with him. I said, fine, I'll do it, but you have to carry my backpack. So I would pick that fool up every morning for school at 7:50. I drove all the way from Austin. He lived in San Marcos. I would pick him up at 7:50, and we would park right outside of Old Main, and he would carry my backpack up to our 8:00 class. But he just didn't want to have to ride the bus to school. So he wanted me to come get him because I got front row parking at the building. But he tells people that without giving like any story about it. He just makes it sound like I got this, this sticker that was like allowing me to like basically keep the system. And I was like, no, dude, I was legitimately hurt. Like I'm still hurt from it on my left shoulder. Like I'm still hurt from it. And but he makes it sound like I was just like some little shit, basically, like finagled this pass to be able to work up close.
Randy has a wonderful way, though, of making himself look good and everyone else look bad. Am I wrong?
He's always been so sweet to me, Cody. He did slide in next to my group of girls at college. I went to his first gig, but he slid in next to me. This is when he went by Randall, and he slid in next to us, and he's like, "I got a gig tonight. You want to come?" And I was like, "No, I don't." But of course we did. I mean, we all went, and we were friends ever since then. But
well, I will say that him and Cody both care about you a lot. I remember the first time we played with Randy, and the first thing he said to Cody when he walked up to him was, "When are we going to write Sunny a #1 song?"
Hey, that's what y'all should do.
Yeah, he did. Well, and I talked to Randy yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he's gonna be on this in some weeks to come. So,
cool! Y'all write me something.
Okay, we'll get right on that.
Do it. Do it. Crack that whip.
Oh man. Well, man, that's all I got. That's about as serious as these things get.
Well, I miss y'all so much, and I'm so glad I got to see you.
I know we missed
and
you
talk
back.
To you. I miss y'all too.
It's crazy, man. It's weird. I've been having to learn how to do all kinds of things on Zoom, all kinds of weird shit. So, well, I tell you what, man. I will go ahead and we'll shut this one down. If anybody has anything else, speak up or forever hold your peace. But you have been a couple in with me, Cody Jinks, Josh Thompson right there in El Paso, Texas, Tornillo, Texas.
Tornillo.
Bobby Keith Kilgore down in the Waco area. I'm up north central Texas, and we have our engineer, Seth Noseworthy, out near the Nashville area. And our guest that we were honored to have today, our very, very, very good friend. And we love you so much. And we
love
miss
y'all
you.
too.
We can't wait to get back out on the road with you.
Me too.
So thank you for being with us. Talk to you soon.